You're listening to the Mental Game Gym podcast, the place where athletes, parents, and coaches build the mental skills that lead to consistent, confident performance. We explore presence, resilience, values, and everything that fuels a stronger mind. Here's your host, mental performance coach Andrew Crome. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Mental Game Gym podcast. I am your host and mental performance coach, Andrew Crome. Today, I want to talk about something very topical because the Winter Olympics are here. And athletes from all over the world are pushing the limits. They're going to be chasing medals, representing their countries with pride. And we get to see the podiums, the tears of victory, possibly even the tears of failure, the highlight reels. We hear national anthems and interviews full of joy. But today, we're talking about the part of the Olympics that we don't really get to see. And that's the preparation, specifically the mental preparation that goes into it. The invisible hours, the inner battles that happen before the skis hit the snow or the blades touch the ice. Olympians aren't just physically elite. They are mentally trained, disciplined, and practiced in many ways that go far beyond confidence or hype. So in this episode, I want to take you behind the scenes of the mental game, because what they experience, you experience as well. And when you understand what they do mentally, we unlock something powerful in ourselves. You can go and use these tools and skills that they use in your performances. So what I'd like to do on this show, if you've been watching, is bust some common myths. And I'm going to do that today. And we're going to start with Olympians don't get nervous. Right? They're the best in the world. Why would they get nervous? The truth is everyone gets nervous. Every athlete, every person gets nervous. What separates these Olympians is their relationship to nerves. They expect them. They make space for them. They train for them. They work with them, not against them. Take Michelle Kwan, for example. Before every competition, she felt butterflies, and not little ones, but she trained with them. She had rituals. She used breath work, visualization to keep her grounded. And she was able to compete despite feeling this sense of anxiety. Another myth that I hear quite a lot are just Olympians are born confident. It's just an innate ability. They're confident in themselves. They're able to do whatever they want. The truth is that they build confidence like they build muscle. Day after day, rep after rep. Confidence grows from keeping promises to yourself, stacking the small wins, building routines that teach your brain, I'm ready, looking back to previous successes and thinking about those and really looking at what you did well, knowing what your strengths are. Another myth is that mental toughness means being emotionless. Mental toughness means making room for emotion and choosing to act anyway. Olympians don't ignore the stress. They notice it. They breathe through it and come back to their mission, come back to their values. Mental training isn't about becoming robotic. It's about becoming resilient. It's about knowing when shit hits the fan, they know what they need to do. Okay, so let's talk about what these athletes are doing that typically no one sees. Sometimes we do get to see them because we can see them right before they compete. Maybe what you see them doing is going through their race, their event in their head and visualizing it. But typically, we don't get to see everything. And Olympians mentally rehearse everything. The moment that gate opens, the texture of the ice, the rhythm of the routine. So they're not only seeing their performance, but they're also using other senses like feel, sound, smell. And something that I think a lot of people think we should do is just simply visualize success. What we should also be doing is visualizing adversity. And that's what the best in the world do. They rehearse. Well, what happens if the wind picks up? What happens if I fall? If the crowd gets loud, I get distracted. They rehearse their resets, their recoveries. They rehearse how to have clarity in the chaos. Lindsey Vonn once said she would ski a course in her mind hundreds of times before she set foot on it. And for her, visualization wasn't optional, it was preparation. So I want you to try this before your next practice or competition. Take 3 minutes and close your eyes and see it clearly. Walk through your process, hear the sounds, feel your breath, see yourself getting distracted or making a mistake. How are you recovering from that? Are you staying in control, calm? Are you acting in line with your values? Another big thing that Olympians do is they prepare for the unexpected. They know that things might go wrong, and that's not a threat, that's reality. So they train mentally for disruption. Biathletes, for example, have to switch from maximum heart rate skiing to steady precision shooting. And that requires incredible amounts of mental control. And that kind of switch takes reps. So athletes use stress drills, breathing ladders, high intensity interval mental resets to practice that shift. And most of this training is invisible. We don't get to see the work that they put in. But you can do the same. Create pressure moments in practice. Simulate distractions. And then practice how you reset. So don't just train the skill, but also start training your response. Put yourself in difficult situations and train how you're going to overcome them. Because it's the only way you're going to build confidence, build resilience, emotional control. And that's what we're going to look at now. So emotional regulation. What does it look like in action? It's the snowboarder who shakes out his arms, exhales, and centers before dropping in. It's the figure skater who touches the ice and anchors into the present moment. It's the breath or the phrase or the physical cue that brings them back to what they can control. And this is, again, something that you can use. We've talked about having a physical reset, having a breath, something that you do that is going to shift your focus back to the present moment and what's important now. So use it before you begin. Use it after mistakes, right? These tools are not for only Olympians, but they're for anyone. They're for any person that is going into a performance, sport or otherwise. And that's something that you can look out for during the Olympics is, do you see athletes mentally resetting? Do they have a physical action that they use maybe before a routine? Do you see them taking a breath and shaking out their arms or their legs? Maybe you can even see them saying something to themselves. Look out for those things. If you find anything, I'd love for you to share it with me. But I always find it really fun to watch sporting events like this and look for those things. Look for the mental work that they're doing, whether it's breath work, whether it's self-talk, whether it's having a reset cue. Let's take a closer look at something here. And I want to ask you this question. Have you ever had a moment where your stomach flipped before a tryout or your mind spiraled before a game and you just wish that the pressure would just go away? And that's common for most of us. And that does not mean that you're weak. It means that you're human. Olympians feel that too, but they don't get rid of it. What they do, as I said, is they prepare for it. So here's a quick routine that you can start using today. The first step is name that feeling. I notice that I'm feeling nervous. I notice that I'm feeling tight. So we just name it. We don't fight with it. We just recognize that it's there and we name it. And then the second step is notice your body. Where is the tension? Is it in your shoulders, your hands, your jaw? Notice where you're feeling that tension. And then the third step is choose a controllable action. Take a breath and then do something. Wiggle your fingers. I was speaking to an athlete last week where she said her physical action is to push down on each of her fingers with her thumb. Try something like that. And then say something to yourself. Okay, present moment. Next. Okay. And in these 3 steps, take a few seconds and it tells your brain, I'm in control. And it helps you shift from fighting with that, maybe that nervous feeling that you've got, the butterflies in your stomach, to being in control and focusing on what's important. What do I need to do right now that is going to help me achieve my goals? And again, this comes back to having those values. You need to know why you're doing something and what's important for you, because then you know how you need to act in each situation. So we're not going through the motions, but we're doing things intentionally. So let's bring it to life now with two quick examples. Chloe Kim, who won gold at 17, but then the pressure that followed nearly broke her. She stepped away, she got support, and she learned how to train her mental game as seriously as her physical one. And today she talks about using visualization, having boundaries, and why fun matters. Comeback wasn't just a physical one, it was more of a mental one, a mental realignment and learning skills that she could use so that she could perform at her best and focus on the right things. Another example is Nathan Chen. So after struggling in the 2018 Olympics, he used the years after that to rebuild not just his routines, but his mindset. And now he talks about focusing on the next element, not ruminating on the past or any mistakes. And when he returned to the Olympics, he didn't skate without nerves, but he skated with a new approach to pressure. And it showed. So here are 3 tools that you can take away and you can start implementing this week. Before a workout, I want you to take a few minutes to see it clearly. See what you want to achieve, see what you want to be doing. Picture challenges and also picture your response. But again, we're not just using what we can see, we're trying to use all of the senses. We're trying to make it as real, as vivid as possible. So what do you hear? What are some common things you hear? What are some common things that you might smell? Can you feel, whether it's equipment in your hands or the snow under your feet or the ice under your skates, your feet on the floor? The second thing is have a pre-performance reset. So a breath, a small phrase, and a physical cue. And use that before you begin, just to get yourself in the right frame of mind, to let go of any unnecessary fears and refocusing on the things that are important. Use this during competition if you can, help you reset when you're not feeling like you're in control. And then the final thing is a reflection prompt. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What can I control? What's my next best action? So during breaks in practice, but during breaks in competition, that's a great few questions to ask yourself. If it's one question, simply just ask, what's my next best action? And then simply go and do that. The more you're acting and the more you're acting in line with your values, acting in a way that is pushing you closer to the person, the athlete that you want to be, the less you're thinking about the mistakes or what other people think, things that we can't control. So what we see in the Olympics is just the tip of the iceberg. What we don't see is the inner work, the work that they've done in the last few years leading up to the Olympics, the quiet prep, but then also the doubt, the nerves, the resilience, and that mental training that they put in is available to all of us. So this week, be your own mental coach. If you would like a mental coach, I'm here for you, so reach out to me. And I want you to notice what you feel this week. What shows up for you? And can you make space for it and go and act on the things that you can control? Go and act on the things that are important in this moment. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time.